6 out of that thing.
Yeah, 6 out of 1252. Oh, it's forever.
Marcel was very close to his mother. He was born 5 days after her birthday.
Marcel was very close to me because our birthday was in the same month. Actually, when Marcel was born, I said that was my special birthday gift because he was born like 5 days after my birthday. Marcel was a special child. Even when he was young, he was always helpful. He always wanted to help. He always put himself in a position to be a mentor for younger boys. He worked hard as a young man. He was a dedicated father, dedicated husband. And actually, Marcel had put his life on the line even when he got older, just before his death, to join the Detroit 300. He was always trying to put himself at a scene where there was an incident that happened, if someone was in a car accident, or if someone had a situation going on, he was always there to help. His wife expressed to me during the time they would be out sometime at night just riding. And if Marcel see a situation where someone was in a car accident, the first person to arrive would be Marcel. It was almost like him arriving on the scene, you know, like the police or whomever.
Always helping people, Marcel was a peacemaker. And as a volunteer for Detroit 300, he spent countless hours tracking down rapists and murderers, finding justice for crime victims.
My son was a peacemaker. He loved security. He loved protecting and serving. And I didn't really go along with him working at the end of the club.
On the 400 block of Congress near downtown Detroit early Wednesday morning, the 39-year-old was running security for the club.
And I think Marcel was doing this because he wanted to supplement his income. He was not working full-time at Walgreens. He was working part-time, but he had a job pending at the federal building for security. And he was actually scheduled to work starting in July, the middle of July, and he was killed in June. But to supplement the income to do the things that was necessary in his home for his wife and children, he'd taken that assignment that night.
At some point in the night, a fight broke out inside. A man was accused of hitting a woman. Marcel stepped in and kicked out the guy involved. Witnesses say the same guy came back to the club several hours later and shot Marcel.
So he offered himself. He said, well, you know, I'll just do it. I'll come in and do it. And I was informed once he got there, he was offered a vest from one of the other young men that was with him. He didn't take it. You know, he didn't want to take the vest off the other guy and put it on himself. And that particular night, I can truly say, was the worst night of my life. Because 3 o'clock, a little after 3, I received a phone call from his wife. And she said, hi, this is Holly. She said, I just received a phone call from Wayne that Marcel was shot. And okay, so right away, I'm asleep. And I thought I was dreaming. And so then it dawned on me that this is her on the phone, you know. So I jumped up, and I'm still trying to talk to her as I'm jumping up out the bed, grabbing clothes, and she said he's on his way to the hospital. And so by the time I got to the hospital, I was trying to get there. My daughter was the first to arrive because she was downtown at the time. And when I arrived at the hospital, they had already taken Marcel into OR. I didn't get a chance to see him. I didn't get a chance to hold his hand, to pray for him or talk to him or anything. So I had a doctor to come out, and she said, well, you know, Marcel was shot. She said, but he has a strong heart. He seemed to be, you know, in good health. She said, we have seen these type of wounds before, and I think he's going to be okay. But he will need surgery, and he's probably going to have to be in therapy a long time. Around 6:45 or something, or a little before 7, she came out. And when she came out, she looked directly in my face.
Things were looking good for Marcel. Then things took a turn for the worse.
And she said, well, you know he was in surgery. And I said, yes. And I'm thinking she's going to say it went well, and, you know, but he's going to be later for a long time. She said, well, you know, I'm sorry to inform you that he didn't make it. Truly would like for them to understand that they've taken a father, a son, and a husband. And they will never be able to replace this. But I also want them to know if they're a father, then they might understand later what it is to lose a child. I don't wish any bad things to happen to this person, but I want them to come forth and to own up to what they done, so we can have some type of closure. The pain will not go away for the loss, but at least we have some closure. But I also demand justice, and I want to see justice served, so my daughter-in-law and my grandchildren will have some type of peace. This is what I want to see.
This family needs closure. The suspect or suspects remain at large. Jackson's family is in need of help after Marcel's murder.
It's harder whenever there's a bigger group. Pretty much a good day for me would be people leaving their hands off of me. I'm always called names. Everywhere that I go, there's always someone calling me names, calling me gay. I've been choked, thrown up against a wall, punched. Nobody's ever tried to help me.
I'm one unlucky guy. The chance of being involved in a robbery is 1 in 757. The chances of being struck by lightning, 1 in 750,000.
Please fasten your seatbelts for unexpected turbulence.
The chances of being a victim in an airline crash, 1 in 29 million. Hey, could I get some peanuts? The chances of being involved in a car crash are far greater than lightning strikes and plane crashes. And if you are texting while driving, your risk of crash increases 23 times. Now, I may be an unlucky guy, but I don't have to be part of that statistic, and neither do you. Drive responsibly.
Stand up, Detroit. Let's make our neighborhoods, schools, and businesses safer by reporting crime. You can make your reports anonymously. 3 ways to contact the Crime Stoppers tip line: 1-800-SPEAK-UP, 1-800-SPEAKUP.org, or text CSM and your tip to 274-637 or crime.
Antoine Robinson was found murdered at 12:10 a.m. on Saturday, November 15th, 2008, on Detroit's east side.
I had 4 sons. Antoine was the second oldest one. I call him my love child and my peacemaker. He liked to keep the peace. He was a loving person. If you met him, you know, he'll make an impact in your life. Even if you met him that one time, he was that special child, you know.
Antoine was only 32 years old. He was the father of 2 children. Antoine was a construction worker.
You know, he was married. He had 2 children. He was a wonderful son. He was a wonderful father and a wonderful brother. You know, he participated a lot with the family. You know, we were very close. I raised him to be close, so for him to be gone now, it was like a spot missing. You know, we're all hurting. Mainly, they grew up on the east side. You know, around Gratiot area. He was even raised in, you know, Gratiot and Alma, all over the east side. He went to Osborne. He got his GED. He was attending Wayne State University, you know, community college. He worked construction. He always kept a job. He took care of his family. So he's basically a family man, you know. He liked to have fun with the family. He liked to rap. He made stories. You know, he told stories about his family. He liked to write books and stuff like that. He liked church. He liked church a lot. Just a loving person, you know, family man. He liked his brothers, being around his brothers a lot. They were very close, like I said, giving his younger brothers advice because he was the second oldest one. You know, he got out there and did things like most young boys do, get in trouble, but, you know, I feel like you do your crime, you do your time, you know. I wasn't ashamed or anything he did, you know, because he was human. But to be a bad person, no. He was more so a family type person. At the time when he passed, he had a daughter. She's 19 now. She's finished school. She went to Job Corps. She wants to be a nurse. But she shut down because she was a daddy's baby. His younger daughter, she was like 4 at the time. She'll be turning 9. Now, he definitely took care of her. He did everything. Dentist, the whole 9 yards, you know. He made a big impact on her life because she didn't want to move from the house she was in because she said he wouldn't be able to come back to see her. But like I told her, he's an angel. So he knows where you at all times. We just had a birthday party for him last week. His birthday was October the 13th. So we gave him a birthday party with his picture on his cake and, you know, close family members. And we set up balloons. Every time we go out, it would be like, "Are you ready?" I'd be like, "I'm ready." That was my dance partner. Everywhere we went, it would be me and him. "Ma, you ready?" Yes. He just, you know, and his brothers, he loved them so much. You know, he would sit down and talk to them and tell them, out of a bad situation, he would make it good for them, you know. Even after he passed, my youngest son is 28. And one day he said, "Ma, it was raining." It wasn't raining, but he was thinking about him so tough he wanted to sit on the porch. He said he looked up in the sky and he saw 3 stars. And he said 2 drops of rain fell and hit him in the face. And he said his brother told him, "Take care of Mama for me." I'll never forget, it was on a Friday. The Friday morning he came to my house. And it's strange because I had his oldest daughter, she was living with me. And me and him used to argue every day over the same thing. Take her to school and pick her up. So he came over that morning and he had his little daughter with him. And he asked me, he said, "Ma, could you drop me off?" And I said yes. And his daughter was like, "Grandma," she was like, "Be careful." And he was like, "That's strange. You telling Grandma to be careful. She don't do anything. You need to be telling me to be careful." So we laughed and joked about it. And I said, "Well, I'll call your dad later on so he can bring you over." So I dropped my son off. And I watched him walk away from my van because, like I said, that was my dancer. And I watched him walk away from my van because the day before that I had called him and he had told me he had just moved.
The incident took place at Mr. Robinson's home located on Liberal Street near Gratiot Avenue and 7 Mile Road. He had a gunshot wound to his forehead.
Record on, like I said, that was my dancer, and he just stood in front of my van and just bounced and danced. So that morning, I watched him walk from my van. I actually watched him, just sat there and watched him walk. Later on that day, I got a phone call. I was supposed to go out, but it was like I couldn't go nowhere. You know, it was like I was just glued to that couch. I was so tired. So I said, I'm gonna get up and take a bath. So I got up and took a bath. I said, I'm not gonna take the phone in the bathroom. I'm just gonna relax and take a nice hot bath because I quit working and didn't nobody know, none of the boys knew. So I got in the tub. I cut off all the lights and my phone rung. I got out to answer it and I said, no, I'm gonna go back and relax. If it's important, I'll call back. I got a phone call. So I answered the phone, and for some strange reason, when I said hello and heard his wife's voice, I said, is my baby dead? And she said, I said, would you call the police? And I just hung up the phone. But what had happened was she had talked to him on the phone, and usually about 11:30 that night on a Friday, they would get together. And she didn't hear anything from him. She had just talked to him 20 minutes, and she went by the house and saw the door open. And her uncle went in there and found him dead. I don't know who killed him, why, but I know he knew who killed him because it was no forced entry. You know, he had to let them in, and he was too comfortable. He was too relaxed. Just wish somebody would come forward and tell who did it, because someone knows. All these murders being committed out here, somebody sees something, you know. If it was one of their loved ones, I'm quite sure they would want to know. You know, that's what closure is. I don't have any closure. If he was sick and died, you know, then I would have closure because I know he was ill. But just for a person perfectly healthy walking around to come up dead and nobody know anything. Everybody is not sleeping. Somebody knows something, you know. Come forward. I mean, you don't have to tell who you are. You know, that's why Crime Stoppers is anonymous. You know, call the tips and let's get some of these killers off the streets. They're killing all our young black men. And they're even taking our women's now, you know. You're finding them dead in the cars and all types of stuff. Somebody knows something. Everybody is not sleeping, you know. And you got the wrong idea about a snitch. If you and a person go out there and do something together and that person tell on you and you committed a crime, then that's a snitch. But to tell that you seen somebody commit a murder, that's not a snitch, you know. That's what we need to do. We need to get more involved, you know, in our community. These are our young black kids, even not so much as our black, you know, they're doing the same thing to white kids too, you know. All these murders, you know, we all bleed the same kind of blood. You know, we just need closure. That's all. I just need closure. Somebody just come forward and just tell.
Crime Stoppers of Michigan is offering a cash reward of up to $2,500 for information that leads to an arrest. All calls and cash rewards are completely anonymous.